Hi, and welcome again to Cellar Rat TV with your host, the Cellar Rat, Addison Rex. We're lucky to be joined again by owner and winemaker Robert Rex. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So I'm just going to jump right into it here. We're standing in the vineyard, and we're going to talk a little bit about organic wines today and our organic farming practices. So, what separates organic from not organic? What's the difference?
Well, organic is a set of winemaking or wine grape growing principles that in its simplest form you don't use any chemical pesticides or chemical fertilizers. The idea is to just use what is natural. Nature. Yeah, nature. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's a lot of things in nature that aren't good for you too. So,
right.
You know, but organics means that you're not putting anything artificial here. So. So this is a certified organic vineyard. It's certified by California CCOF.
Certified California Organic Farm?
There you go, yeah. Organic farmers.
Organic farmers.
California Certified Organic Farmers. It's a sanctioning body, and they come out and monitor us. There's a set of rules we have to adhere to, and so it takes about 3 years to get there. This is now in its fifth leaf, the fifth time the buds have come out. So
buds are just starting to come out?
Yeah, we budded out just a couple of weeks ago. You mentioned that ours looks further behind than vineyards across the street. Well, yeah. We're kind of low here. Actually, the water table's higher. Mm-hmm. You know, the wildland behind us is the Kenwood Marsh, and so our water table's a little higher, and the extra moisture in the ground keeps the ground cooler and keeps the atmosphere cooler. So the buds, the vines thinks in this location spring is coming later. So right across the street in the Cundy Vineyard, they're budded out sooner. Also for another reason, these are Syrahs. It's a late season grape. They're across the street is Chardonnay. Chardonnays always bud out sooner.
So it's also varietal.
It's very specific to the varietal. But later, the ones we pick later in the season also bud out later. And organics, we do use like elemental sulfur, which is considered organic. We use the sulfur dust that combats mildew and mold. It doesn't really kill anything. It just harbors the growth of the mildew. Early in the season, we can have mildew problems. So when these get a little taller, they're too short right now. But when they get about 4 to 5 inches tall and it rains, we'll come out after the rain and dust them a little bit of sulfur, and that'll keep the mildew from growing on them.
Is there anything beneficial for the wine itself to use organic practices, like the taste of the wine?
Oh yeah, I think that keeps the wine cleaner. Keeps the wine truer to form. It's hard to point at the exact science or chemistry behind what happens when you use artificial fertilizers and pesticides and so on, but the belief is that that just affects the chemical balance of the wines a little bit, so that if you keep them clean by using organic methods, then the wines remain cleaner and the flavors remain truer to form. The other thing that's going on is we're biodynamically farmed, which means we only use fertilizers made from our own compost.
Oh, really?
And
is biodynamic also?
Biodynamic, yeah. We're not certified biodynamic yet, but one of these days we will be. But this is farmed biodynamically, and so we make our own fertilizer. We bring in manures from local animals only, just from the Sonoma Valley, mostly horse manure and cow manure, some chicken manure. We're fortunate in Sonoma, we still have these animals around. You know, if you're in Napa, it's hard to do because they don't.
It's all planted.
It's all grapes. Yeah. But we're much more diverse here in Sonoma, so it allows us to do that. We compost that with the solids we get from the winery, you know, after making the wine, the seeds and the skins and stuff.
All pumice?
All pumice, and We compost that. If we walked over the other vineyard, you'd see this big mountain of compost there.
Yeah, we can walk over there.
We age it. Yeah, we could go take a look at it. It's a little muddy there. Maybe on a future show.
Okay, we'll check out the compost pile another day.
But it's huge, you know.
Oh yeah, we dumped a lot of pumice over there from
Yeah.
harvest. So much grape skins.
Tons and tons.
Tons of grape skins.
So we mix that with the fertilizer and compost, and then after it sits there for 2 years, we use it as fertilizer. And what that does, a combination of organic farming and biodynamic methods, it keeps the terroir, the sense of place, unique to this spot. So the grapes here won't be diluted, their flavors won't be diluted by things from other areas. So
I bet it helps the natural yeast too.
Well, I think that it does. What it's doing from the compost, it's coming from the winery. The winery kind of develops its own yeast profile from all the yeast we introduce into the wines and all the wines we make there. After a couple of years, the winery has its own yeast.
Wow.
And so the native, we always start the great wine on fermenting on native yeast, indigenous yeast we call it. A lot of people call it natural yeast. Well, all yeast is natural. There's no such thing as artificial yeast. No genetic engineering or anything like that. So native yeast, the native yeast really come from the winery. Well, they end up in the pumice and then they end up in the vineyard. So they really started the winery and they end up in the vineyard. But because we don't bring anything from the outside, then we have Deerfield yeast on this property.
That's so cool. So we've got this vineyard Syrah. We've got a tiny little block of Sauvignon Blanc across the way. Why did you choose to plant mostly Syrah?
It was the next hot variety. You know, it was the next Merlot. It didn't turn out quite that way. I'm thinking actually about budding over some to Malbec. Malbec's the next Merlot.
Wait, really? We're gonna thinking of?
I'm thinking about it. You know, it's hard to lop their heads off.
Right.
You know, that's what you do. You cut them. You cut them here, and then you cut them right here, and you bud on two Malbec buds. And because the roots are established and so strong, by the next year they'll produce a crop. So
really?
Yeah, you only lose 1 year.
Oh, so you don't have to replace any root stocks.
You don't. No, you leave the vines the way they're up. We just lop their heads off.
So